Hey guys, welcome to class. My name is Victoria. If you're new here, you're highly welcome. Don't forget to click on the subscribe button, like my videos, and make sure to turn on your notification bell so that you get notified whenever I upload a new video. Today we'll be learning how to draft a two-piece sleeve. This is the kind of sleeve you see on jackets, coats, blazers, and suits. So instead of using a basic sleeve for this project, you can go ahead and use your two-piece sleeve, which I'm about to show you how you can get that done. So the first thing that you're going to do is to grab your basic sleeve pattern. I have a detailed tutorial in the channel on how to draft a basic sleeve, and I'll be putting the link in the description box so that you go ahead and watch that out. So the first thing that you're going to do is to fold your basic sleeve, making sure that the two edges are meeting at the center line. Guys, do not overlap. Let them just meet at the center line. Once that is done, you go ahead and tape it down, okay? So the next thing you do is to make sure that the two edges of the wrist area of the sleeve are also meeting at the center line, and you tape it down the same way you did to the upper part, okay? Once that is done, you can go ahead and use your hands to press the two sides down in order to form a crease line, which we will be using as we proceed later in the video. So as you can see on the center part of the sleeve, there is a little space there. You can go ahead and ignore that because it's no more than ½ inch, okay? The next thing that you're going to do is to trace this shape on a fresh pattern paper. You trace the calf, the bicep area, the two sides, as well as the wrist area on this fresh pattern paper that is placed underneath this shape here. So first of all, I trace with my pencil before using my tracing wheel to trace more, and then I used my marker pen to make those lines visible. That's because I wasn't using a transparent pattern paper, okay? So if you know any other way that you can do this that will make it easier for you, you can go ahead and do that. So I've removed my tapes. The next thing I'm going to do is to use my tracing wheel to trace the two crease line on the side that I formed earlier, okay? So once that is done, I'll go ahead and use my marker pen to make those lines visible on this fresh pattern paper here. So once I was done marking, the next thing I'm going to do is to go ahead and label my pattern as well as placing my notches. So this is the elbow line, the wrist line, the front, and this is the back part, okay? So the next thing that we are going to do is to develop this pattern. While standing, you notice that your arm is slightly bent towards the front. In order to accommodate that, you have to come to the wrist line on the front part and measure 1 inch outwards. On the back part, you measure 1 inch downwards and extend it the 1 inch to the main sleeve, and also connect it to the 1 inch that you measured outwards earlier. So once that is done, the next thing that you're going to do is to go back to the 1 inch that you measured downwards and measure 1 inch inwards, as you can see me doing. And after that, you connect from this point to the elbow line, and from the other 1 inch inwards to the other elbow line as well. So once that is done, you can see that the bent effect is now visible in this sleeve. This you can go ahead and use how 1 inch, 0.75 as well as half inch depending on how bent that you think your arm is. Okay, you can also use 1.5 inches if you felt that your arm is more bent than this. All right. So this line here, from this point here to this point here, is now our normal sleeve line. Okay, so these lines are no longer necessary. All right, so you have to disregard these lines here. Okay, the next thing that we are going to do now is to get our inner sleeve. In order to do that, we'll have to measure half inch inwards from this line and from this line as well. Okay, I will come here and measure half inch inwards, come to the elbow line and measure half inch inwards, and come to this point here and measure half inch inwards. I will also do the same thing on this part. I'll measure half inch in here, half inch in here, and also half inch inwards on this part. Okay, I'll go ahead and use a different color of marker. I'll be using green so that we don't get confused. So once that is done, the next thing that we are going to do now is to go ahead and trace this green line on a fresh pattern paper. Okay, I'll go ahead and place a fresh pattern paper underneath this and trace out this green line on it. So once I was done tracing, I used my marker pen to make that line visible. And as you can see, we have our upper sleeve. So guys, I traced this curve here, that is the bicep area, the two sides that I used green marker for, as well as the wrist area. Okay, so once that is done, the next thing I did was to cut out my inner sleeve. Okay, so guys, one after you're done cutting, please make sure you label your pattern. Don't be like me. Okay, make sure you label it. So after cutting, I'll go ahead and set that part aside and also work more on this shape here. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to add back that half inch that I took in on both sides of this sleeve. Okay, I'll be adding it back. All right, in order to do that, I'll go ahead and fold this pattern from the bicep area to the elbow line on the front part and trace on the green line that I marked. Okay, I'll be folding on the blue line and be tracing on the green line in order to add exactly that half inch that I took in on that area. So because this sleeve is not straight, is no longer straight, we'll be folding from the bicep area to the elbow line first and trace. So once that is done, I'll go ahead and fold from the elbow line to the wrist line on the blue line, okay, and trace. So once I was done tracing the front, I will also do the same thing to the back part of the sleeve as well. So once I was done tracing the front and the back parts of the sleeve, I'll go ahead and use another color of marker and mark the lines out. Okay, this is in order not to get us confused. So as you can see, our upper sleeve is ready, and the next thing I'm going to do now is to cut out this shape here round. All right, I'll be cutting on the black line on both sides, as well as the sleeve cap and the wrist area. So guys, as you can see, our two-piece sleeve is ready. This is the upper and this is the inner sleeves. Guys, don't forget to label your patterns, okay? Don't be like me. So the next thing that you're going to do is to add your notches. I'll be measuring 6 inches from the wrist line upwards. These notches is not random. The essence of adding these notches is so that when you're sewing on your fabric, that's after cutting on your fabric, when you're trying to stitch it down, you will not be struggling a lot. Okay, you don't have to struggle. You just place the two notches and stitch. You just place the notches on your upper sleeve and on your inner sleeve and stitch, and you don't have to be struggling. Okay. So guys, once I was done notching, we came to the end of the class. All right, so if you watched this far, thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe.